What is up, everybody? Welcome to day 15 of the All About How podcast from growingau.com. I am your host, John Knott. I hope everyone's having a really highly successful day. I hope you're all leaving the world a better place than you found it. We are at day 15. Can you guys believe it already? Day 15. Oh my gosh, 2 weeks. It's done. It's in the bag. It's history. I feel like being a little more lively today. I feel like these last couple podcasts have drug on a little bit, so we are going to change that around today. I upped the volume, up the energy, up the ante. We have a very value-packed episode for you today. Super excited that you're here listening. If you don't know what the 365-day podcasting experiment is, if you don't know why it's important that it's day 15, I highly suggest that you go back and listen to some of our other podcasts where we explain the experiment that we're running here on growingau.com on the All About How podcast and get informed. All right, guys, really value-packed episode. Let's roll the intro and jump on into it. This is All About How.
It's all about how in 2020 we're going to leave the world a better place than we found it.
What I really love about these podcasts is that there are times when they're really not necessarily scripted out. And by scripted, I don't necessarily mean the things that I'm saying. We do every now and again have a scripted podcast specifically for things such as our book reviews, our deep dives. Those are pretty scripted. I do have things that I want to talk about, and we riff on it a little bit from there. But the script that I'm referring to is more so the scheduling of the episodes. We don't have a set schedule as of yet. I do plan on perhaps implementing it more in the future to better understand and leverage SEOs and keywords and stuff like that. But as of right now, the podcasts are very, very much so a day-to-day documentation of what is happening in the life of a startup entrepreneur and businesses. Also, though, it's taking the inspiration and the information that is gathered on those day-to-day experiences and then putting it forward through into the podcast. So my reason for telling you this is because in today's podcast, we are being inspired by events that happened literally 2 hours ago, where I was with my buddy John and we set up 2 independent writing profiles on Fiverr.com. I'm sure you've heard of Fiverr before. It is the freelance site where you can pretty much set up any type of gig that you want, or you can purchase any type of gig that you want to have any sort of work done for you. Really, really awesome site. I've talked about it before on some other platforms, through some other mediums, but I really am a big fan of Fiverr for getting work done. The 2 accounts and the 2 gigs that we set up are specifically centered around John with political writing and myself along with personal development, business, and financial writing, stuff of that nature, and writing articles and blog posts that are subsequently attached to both of those areas of expertise. And we were really excited about it. We were thinking about doing it for a couple days. I've been thinking about doing it a little while. John calls me up, says, "Hey, what do you think about, I've been thinking about doing some freelance stuff." I said, "You know what, man, I know exactly what we got to do. Give me a call, or I'll call you rather Sunday morning, and I'll help you get all that set up." That's what we did today. And I'm really happy, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to take the journey here on the channel with you as well, and to discuss how freelancing works in 2020, to see how much money we can make from that, really making some of that good entrepreneurial money. So, how does this all play into today's episode? Well, I want to talk about something that I have coined before in different iterations of AU, and talk about the different forms of income, because I believe there are primarily 2 different forms of income. And I feel what happens is a lot of people get stuck in form 1, thinking that they're in form 2. Much like in the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, if you haven't read that, highly recommend. Much like in the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, he talks about the difference between assets and liabilities, and how a lot of people generally suspect that they are purchasing assets, whereas in reality, they are buying liabilities. Obviously, asset is something that will build you and make you money, whereas a liability costs you money or does nothing for you. So, keeping that in mind, let's talk about these 2 different types of income streams that I believe exist. All right, so I know we've heard things of passive income. We've heard of just like income from a job. We've heard of investing income. But I think all of that can simplify down into 2 different forms. You know, obviously, if we're talking about throw, simplify, and in Ralph Waldo Emerson's response to throw, 1 simplify would have been enough. Unfortunately, as of yet, I have not been able to break these down into 1 form. However, I did get it down into 2. So Throw would be happy. Let's talk about these 2 forms today. The first one is, I think, the form that a lot of people are familiar with, and that is what I would call an income stream, right? We talk about building multiple income streams. You might be thinking, well, we've heard of that before, passive income. We've heard of, like we said, income from a job. We've heard of investing income. So how's it any different? Well, a lot of people think they're building an income stream. They think they're, whether it be passive or otherwise, they believe to themselves that I am building an income stream. Whereas in reality, the way I've seen things tends to go is that these individuals are actually building a second form of income stream that I'm going to refer to as a payment stream. And there's a major, major delineation between an income stream and a payment stream. And I want to kind of map it out for us here quickly with an example of a payment stream. Payment streams differ from income streams because they are not continuous flows of money. A payment stream, however, is a form of money gathering that is centered around specific tasks that are being completed in exchange for a monetary reward. One way that I kind of like to think about it is an archipelago of money, right? It's all these individual gigs, for example, if we're going to use that a term, that result in making more money. Now, how does might be thinking, well, most times money is in exchange for a service or in response to something that you do. Yes, very true. So how does a payment stream differ from an income stream? Well, a payment stream stops when you stop providing the individual services. So how does that differ? Let's look at this here. So a payment stream, okay? Let's say that we are working a part-time job. A lot of people would say that's an income stream. I would say it's a payment stream. Why? The minute that you stop clocking hours, the minute that you stop going to that establishment, you stop getting paid. Simple as that. You have sick days, you have vacation leave. We can talk about those as well. But assuming that those aren't included in the scenario here, if you don't work on Wednesday, you don't get paid on Wednesday. Simple as that. Let's look at a full-time salaried job. If you don't work on Wednesday because it's your day off, chances are you're still getting paid because you're getting paid a fixed amount per year. Now, I am not here, and this brings up a good point, that neither of these streams is necessarily better than another. You can look at people who I would say live off a majority of a payment stream over an income stream and still make a lot more than the majority of people living on income streams. What's a good example of this? Look at someone like Conor McGregor or any sort of UFC fighter. They're going to get paid a lot of money per fight. So I would consider that to be a payment stream. Now, obviously, I know there's royalty checks and stuff like that allow them to have income streams as well. I'm not saying these people don't have multiple forms of income. However, if they only had the payment stream, they're making a lot of money there and probably a lot more than what some fixed salary people are making. So just because it's a payment stream isn't in any shape or form supposed to be or make it sound to be any less important, vital, or useful than an income stream. But the difference is basically the minute that you stop doing whatever it is that you're getting paid for is when you are no longer getting paid. Kind of self-explanatory there. Another kind of great example besides a part-time job, freelancing gigs. If I'm not writing a paper for somebody, I'm not getting paid. If I'm not doing product photography for somebody, hint, hint, coming soon, talk more later, then I'm not getting paid for that. So those are what I would consider to not be a freelance income stream. That is something I would call a freelance payment stream because it's not consistent income. What is something that is consistent income? Well, this is something like, for example, with YouTube. When podcasts become successful, the episodes and content you have created will continue to make you money over time. You don't have to create any more to make money off of what you've already created. There's a continual stream of money from it. It's not just, I'm going to post a video, I'm getting paid a one-time sum for that video, and that's that. No, I'm going to post content, and that content is going to continually generate me money over time. Now, obviously, it helps to continue to post content to have more generations of income, but basically, there's not a fixed payment for the service that you're providing. There is a continual growth of monetary, I'm just going to call it monetary exchange for the value of the information over a extended period of time rather than just a one-time trade-off. And that is what I would call an income stream. Now, why is this important? Why is it important to talk about these? Well, I believe a lot in the idea of scaling, right? So understanding that companies or businesses or whatever it is we're working on need to start small and consistently grow. I think scaling applies very well but is often not applied to human beings. I believe we have the ability to scale ourselves over a period of time. So one thing I think a lot of people who are looking into personal development appreciate and try to achieve is financial independence. Well, if you just go from a $10,000 a year to wanting to make $1 million a year, it's not realistic. How are you going to manage $1 million or make $1 million if you haven't first made 100,000? You can't. So the idea of we have to scale that up over time. So building payment streams can be fast and easy. This could be anything from setting up, as we talked about, part-time job to freelancing to maybe it's like music lessons or I'm going to cut lawns, right? Setting up a payment stream is very easy to do. Maybe not always easy to be successful, but conceptually, in theory, there's not a lot of work that is necessarily going to be attached to a lot of these payment streams because the work in most cases comes after you've secured the job or you've secured the gig. Me setting up a freelance writing gig on Fiverr requires really no work except me filling out a couple questions. The work comes after. So I can set up a payment stream very quickly. And I can go today after this podcast, and I still may go after this podcast today, and I can set up 25 different payment streams in the course of about 3 hours. No problem. Setting up an income stream, though, and a successful income stream over a period of time takes a long, long time. So something like this podcast, right? In 300 and, well, however many days from now, when we get to a year, that has the potential of being a high revenue income stream. But it takes a year, 2 years, 3 years, possibly even, to build it up to a point where the monetization makes sense and the return on the monetization makes sense. So you're actually going to make the correct amount of money off of your platform that you've built. So the work comes before the income, right? So we have to build the company first. We have to build the brand first. We have to build the channel first. We have to build the social media account first before the income starts to flow in. But once the income does start flowing in, it's not being paid as an exchange for a service. It's being a continual payment for the value and the information that is continually being produced on the platform and that has been produced on the platform. So setting up an income stream has the potential to make more money, I think, in the long term, but it takes more time to set it up as well. 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 or 5 years before it really gets to a point where you feel that you were in a correct position to leverage monetization on the specific essentially area that you're in. So it takes more time, but the overall growth potential, the overall ROI, the net has a bigger picture attached to it because it's not just being paid $40 for one gig, for example. It's being paid $5,000 for a video over the course of 3 months, for example. So I think you understand the point I'm trying to make there. And so how do these two fit together? Because I talked about how one is not greater than the other. And I think the Conor McGregor example, the fighter examples, like people who get paid per movies and stuff like that, those are not great examples. I think those are outliers. I feel that an income stream will definitely generate more money in the net than a payment stream. However, now, like I said, you can have a really successful payment stream, so none of this is like set in stone facts, but I want to make a point here. A payment stream is easier to set up. So if you set up payment streams, let's say you set up like 10 payment streams, so you're doing a whole bunch of different things or a whole bunch of different ability to do different things. You set up the payment streams. Those payment streams then go into fund your income streams. So like the money, let's say I make from freelancing goes into improving the podcast, goes into improving the brand, goes into stuff like that, which then allows me to grow this income stream. It wouldn't necessarily make sense for me to build an income stream that would take 2, 3, 4 years to build to then use that money to start payment streams. It makes more sense to start the payment stream, which basically takes almost no work, and then bring that money over and put it into a income stream to generate more money over time. That is what I believe is the importance of understanding the difference between payment streams and income streams, is understanding how they both affect each other and how to leverage the one to better propel yourself into a monetization elevation in the other. I highly believe in it. I think knowing the two is important. If you think knowing the two is important, if you found value in what it is we just talked about, think about sharing this podcast with those other people in your life who are starting their entrepreneurial journeys, who are starting their freelancing journeys, who are being content creators, or trying to build freedom for themselves and their existence and their families. This is something that I do believe can help a lot of people, and I'd appreciate it if you consider giving this one a share. Guys, really appreciate listening today on day 15. Again, we have completed the 2 weeks. We are moving on. We're going on a month now, man. And after a month, it's going to be 2 months, 3 months, all the way up to 12 months. And then years beyond that. Really, really excited for it. I'm excited in another 2 weeks from now to talk about the results. I need to give you a fact of the day because dumb old me forgot yesterday. So here's my fact of the day. I think you're going to like this one. In Switzerland, good old Switzerland. We love the Switzerlands. Here's the deal. It is illegal. And I mean, not like, not approved, not like disliked. I mean, it is illegal. You will go and be legally charged if you only own one guinea pig. Again, it's illegal to own one guinea pig. Because the animals are so social, the country has gone and mandated that if you want to own one guinea pig, you need to at least own 2 guinea pigs. Talk about progressive. That's pretty cool. They're looking out for those guinea pigs out there. They need our help. We got to protect them. I like it. Switzerland, good on you. All right, everybody. Hope you found some value in this podcast. I hope you have a very highly successful day. I hope you continue to chase your goal of leaving the world a better place than you found it. And with that being said, we are going to leave it here today. We'll see you tomorrow on day 16. This has been All About How, and I will talk to you tomorrow.